I mean, I think what we get right, the passage of civil rights legislation, that may not change somebody's heart, but it at least sets a standard that the nation thinks you should live by. Whether everybody in the nation agrees or not is not the question. So, you know, passing this and saying that people are equal, they should be treated equally, that is important that be on record. So that even those who disagree with it, when they come up against it and are confronted by it, you have the government behind you as opposed to what it was before, where the government was not behind you. And so I think that's important. I think enforcement is something that's more needed, and of course that's why they don't fund, you know, programs that do the enforcement. Education, at least in this community, I don't know the statistics. I don't know if it's more segregated or less segregated than it was in the past. My guess is that it's better, that there are people who have access to things that they didn't have access to before, and that it's better now. But it has a long way to go. I mean, you look at the reports and the disparity in test scores and standards like that, they're still there. And so you obviously need that kind of work. But I think the thing that bothers many people the most is just this lack of hope that people have. That, I mean, I don't want to say that every person that shoots up or pops a pill is doing it for lack of hope, but there are a lot of people who are just trying to kill pain. They don't see any way out, and then this is the one that's before them, and they can take that and they can not feel it, and that's a shame. I mean, it's just a shame. So you need more treatment. You need a different way of looking at things. The whole criminal justice system is flawed. I mean, it's not just the death penalty. The death penalty highlights the flaw because, I mean, what happens when we get rid of the death penalty? Is anybody going to look to see if a guy that got life was innocent? Or are they just going to forget them? When just because we get rid of the death penalty doesn't mean we're going to stop cops from lying. It's not going to stop prosecutors from hiding evidence, you know, and all that kind of stuff.
Turning off their
videos,
turning off their videos
so
after they've shot and killed an unarmed person.
So the problems that we know about as a result of seeing death penalty cases and focusing on them, those problems are endemic to the system, and they still have to be weeded out if we're going to have any kind of a justice system that's got more credibility than it does now, and it should have more credibility if you're looking at the future. So I think those are the things that we need to be looking at. Immigration, clearly, we need to reform that. We need a comprehensive immigration reform that treats people fairly, and we've been sitting here benefiting from illegal labor for God knows how long, and then we want to throw the illegal laborers out, you know. Well, the day you do that, just don't think you're going to go buy tomatoes tomorrow for $1 a pound. I mean, they're going to be $10 a pound because, you know, somebody's got to pick them. And so...
And no matter what they say, most Americans are not going to do those jobs.
It's ridiculous to think that that's going to happen. And the farmers know it. They know it. They've tried to hire people. I mean, you know, you get somebody like Senator Hornback who has farms, he'll tell you how hard it is to find people to work outside of the immigrant population. So some fair way needs to be created that involves reform. I mean, you know, you should say to people, you know, we don't. If you have any serious crimes, we're not interested in that. But you can lay down certain standards. You can pay a fee. There's a lot of ways of making that work.
And they do that for certain high-skilled laborers. I
exactly.
mean, to some extent, if you have a skill and you're a scientist or something. And
that's what they're proposing. I mean, the current proposal is more like along the lines of, it's not family-centered. It's, you know, what skill do you have or what degree do you have? It's not. They're not looking for unskilled people anymore. And
which interestingly is
We should be looking for both.
right.
you
It's
know?
the descendants of a lot of people who are now don't want these people. Their grandparents and great grandparents came here with no skills at all.
That's called the drawbridge effect. I'm here, and we're pulling the bridge up, and you can just stay on the other side of that moat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen even with people I was working with. There were some refugees who weren't all that interested in seeing more refugees come in.
Come in
And
once
I'd say, you are out of your mind. So, yeah.